So, welcome to reviewing the Tamron 28-75 G2 in a muddy car park in the rain in my camper van. So Tamron have updated the 28-75 with this new G2 version. In my opinion, it's improved across the board in pretty much all areas over the G1. In today's video, we're going to discuss it, and I'm going to show you guys a whole bunch of photos from a real client shoot that I had with a family portrait. Kids running around, and it was a really good test for the focus speed with this lens. So let's get into it. So I got a little bit bored with the third lockdown, is it, I think, here in Auckland, and I put my old Xbox in the camper van with a 27-inch monitor, so that's been pretty fun. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time wedding photographer here in Auckland, New Zealand. As always, if you have any corrections for me or any comments or questions, check the links in the description or in the comments section to see if I've updated anything. But this review is not so much a tech thing or, you know, going into MTF charts or anything like that. This is just how I would use this lens as a full-time professional photographer and whether it stands up to what I want it to do. Now, the build quality has been updated with this latest one. It feels a lot more premium, still probably not quite as well built as like the Sony G Master lenses, but it does feel like a reasonably premium lens, and it just is nicer to use. I don't know, the zoom ring is nicer, the focus ring is nicer. It has a function button on the side of it now, which the G1 didn't have, so that's really nice if you're into using that. You can program it to whatever you like, as always. They've updated the USB connection with a USB-C port, and it has weather sealing on the back as always, and it also has the same 67mm filter thread. So build quality overall is really great and definitely an improvement. So talking about focus speed and accuracy now, and as I said, I did a real world family session with this family. I've done a few photo sessions with them before, and the kids are great, but they're really fast and running around like crazy, and it's a really good test for focus performance in my eyes when you're talking about a new lens. Honestly, it kept up flawlessly. When I culled and edited these photos, I didn't have any that were out of focus. It worked really fast. It's definitely much faster than the Tamron G1. So yeah, focus speed is excellent and very accurate. It's silent, and it also works really well in terms of video autofocus. So onto image quality, and it's definitely improved across the board from center sharpness to edge sharpness. I shot pretty much all of these photos at 2.8, apart from a couple at the end when I stopped down a little bit, and yeah, it's just great. All the images you're seeing were shot in RAW with my A9 Mark II, and they were all just edited with my preset pack, which you can see a link in the description if you want to check those out and support the channel. And I'll also put some RAW files in the description. You can download and have a play with them for yourself as well. While this lens is really sharp, one of the things that stood out to me the most was the color accuracy. It's definitely been improved over the G1, and it lines up more with my Sony G Master 24mm. You know, it just has really accurate skin tones. The old one was really great. It didn't have any real issues with it, but it did have a slight kind of warm yellowy tint to it. And the G2 doesn't have any of that. It's really nice and accurate. It has a little bit of vignetting, but it's not major. I kind of like it. It's corrected automatically with the profiles, but I actually brought it back a little bit because I just like the look of it. And it does have a bit of distortion, but it's not as bad as some of the other contenders out there at the moment. Chromatic aberration is really well controlled. I haven't seen any bad examples with it. I haven't watched any other reviews yet, but I tend to go and watch the reviews after I've done my one because I don't want to be swayed by any other people's opinions. This is just how I felt about the lens before looking at any other people's opinions. And you know, all lenses have a little bit of chromatic aberration in really extreme situations, but this one's definitely better controlled than most of the lenses I've seen recently. So a lot of you guys have asked me, would I buy this one over the Sony G Master or the Sigma 24-70? And while I would like to have 24mm over 28mm, I think honestly I would pick up the Tamron 28-75, this G2 version. It's just something about it. It's just nice to use, and it's much lighter. The zoom ring is the right way. I mean, it's the same way as the Sony, where the Sigma zooms opposite. I'm just being nitpicky here. They're both fantastic lenses, but personally I prefer the Tamron. If you guys saw, I did review the 35-150 recently. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. And that's a really great all-rounder lens. You could definitely shoot an entire wedding with it, but it is quite big and it's quite heavy, and it's a fair bit more expensive than this one. I really like this 28-75, and I think I'll probably end up picking one up. Would I upgrade from the G1 to the G2 if I already had it? I probably would, to be honest. It's definitely, the improvements across the board are worth it for me personally. Obviously it's going to come down to whether you had the money or not, but it is about the same price. It's only slightly more expensive than the G1 at the moment anyway, and it does depend on where you are. But if you can find a 28-75 G1, there's probably going to be a lot of used ones on the market now that this puppy's out. So you've got a lot of options, and yeah, overall I'm really happy with it. So thanks again Tamron for sending me this unit to have a play with, and I'll see you guys in the next video in a couple of days.